Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Big Three Podcast, Episode 8. I'm here with my co-host, fiNESS, and our guest today at Concordia, live. We have Kjez.
What's up, party people?
What's up?
It's good to have you, Kjez.
Yeah. As you guys know, huge fan of the show.
Yeah, Kjez might be our biggest fan.
I'm usually like cooking dinner when these go live, and I'm popping it on, like putting in my headphones while I'm chopping stuff up. So
shout out to that.
Yeah.
We kind of have that timing where it's like around that like evening range. Like kind of do that on purpose. Yeah. So I'm glad it works out like that.
Yeah. That's perfect for me.
So, you actually have a touch of podcasting experience, right? You were doing Great Lakes Hot Takes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did Great Lakes Hot Takes for about a year. I did that with Booker and Grayson, and it was focused on like the larger Midwest scene. Sure. Grayson kind of like tricked me into doing a podcast and then didn't show up after like week 3. It became too much work. Like, I didn't plan on doing it all myself, so eventually we just kind of stopped. But I had a lot of fun doing that. So.
Yeah.
I think you guys are way better than me, though. You have a really natural flow to your podcast.
I always say his podcaster voice is crazy.
Yeah.
It's like so nuts.
Right. The origination of the decision to do a podcast was Drew. Like, we were at the MSU event. What was it? I forget.
It was like
Crossroads 2, I think.
Yeah.
Crossroads 2. I think it was before Top 48, and I was still kind of in the dumps about losing to Linus in pools. Anyway, I jump on the mic with Cal and fiNESS, and they're just like shooting the shit. Right? It's not like that serious. It's like one big mic, and it's just kind of open. And
it was like in the hallway.
Yeah, it was just in the hallway.
Very casual setup.
There were like students walking by.
The TV that we were watching was like 7 seconds behind, like
20 feet away from us.
And we're just like watching Bry versus Pasquale and just making jokes, and like it was not very formal. And he's like, Gary, you got a really good voice for podcast. You should do a podcast.
Yeah, you guys did the classic white guy thing.
I remember it.
And then and I was like, I was like, I've been thinking about that kind of thing. Like, I think I definitely could do voice acting. I've sung in 2 choirs before.
Oh, really?
And so then I thought about it for like 2 days, and I was like, we should do a podcast.
Yeah. He DM'd me 2 days later and was like, I've been thinking, and I was like, oh no,
He's cooking.
Yeah.
And then he's like, we should actually do that.
That's why that's like the kind of the origination of what this podcast is like we just wanted to I wanted to make something. And I thought Drew would be like a perfect candidate for to be my accomplice.
Yeah.
And
I'm kind of big on like filling content voids.
Yeah,
right?
Drew,
which I assume is why you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a big desire during the pandemic. I was thinking about this idea. Well, it was before the pandemic that like getting narratives out to people in a way that isn't just like tweets. And so I was thinking about like, how do you keep up with the scene without having to watch every local and every regional? What if there was like one place you could go to find out about stuff?
Sure,
that was the original idea behind Great Lakes Hot Takes. So
that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how we got into it. But I do appreciate all the work you do, Drew, putting out like videos and stuff. I'm always a huge fan. Right. I'm a big fan of anybody that like puts in the sweat to do something like with their own creativity. Yeah. So I appreciate
that's so much
stuff,
like what you do. You know what I mean? You're
I guess
like, there's no tournament here. I'm gonna do one. So I see where that appreciation would come through. Because like the reason I started making videos in the first place, well, it was actually my commentary reel. But the reason I started making anything after my commentary reel was because I would like watch movement, or like I watched a video of like a CS:GO tournament, and there's like this person that puts together like a montage for every single tournament that happens, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I wish the Smash scene had something like that. Oh, I can just make that myself. I can be the one that makes it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how I got into like content in general. And like since then I've kind of just been all about like filling voids with what I make, right? Like I made that Back to Smash video. Yeah. Because like who else is gonna make a video about that?
Yeah. And that video is fire, by the way.
Rister Mice was his name. Also made one, but it was like specifically about Onin. And it was like the day before I uploaded my video, he uploaded his, and I was like, I swear to God, if his video is like the exact same as mine, I'm gonna be so heated. And luckily his was like just about Onin, so that wasn't really a problem.
Gotcha.
But I have one question based on what you said. You mentioned kind of like filling space in that online era. What was like TOing online tournaments like?
I mean, the landscape for online tournaments, if you participate them, is like a minefield. Like most of them are like the worst possible experience ever. You like sign up for a tournament, you play against a super laggy Luigi or something, and then you go into losers, and then you don't play another match for like 2.5 hours or something. Yeah. And like, so my idea with it was called Social Distance Demons at the time was like, one, we're gonna localize it.
Such a fire name for a tournament, by the way. That's such a good name.
Yeah, we're gonna localize it to like reduce the lag and stuff. But it also ended up creating this feeling of like sort of like a substitute local, because now
definitely.
It definitely felt like a local based on what I heard about it. I never participated, but I hear like Cal talking about it, and it always felt like the exact same conversation we would have after he would go to like a movement or something.
Yeah, you're actually playing with the people that you might end up meeting one day at a regional, like a Michigan regional or one of your locals. Yeah. And you're playing with like a consistent group, which is how locals are too, where like your random Wi-Fi tournament, who knows who you're playing against most of the time. Yeah. They're just a name and they send you an arena code, you know?
It's usually not very like personable, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like host. Fine.
Exactly.
And then they kind of just move on.
So yeah, SDD was a lot about like keeping together the Michigan community that still wanted to play the game during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And doing it in a safe way.
Those of them that existed.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't blame them. A lot of people, I actually quit playing the game because I hated playing Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So
likewise, I totally quit. I also just have bad connection, so I would always be the one getting DQ'd from tournaments. So I was like, this just isn't worth my time.
Lagginess.
Exactly. That was me, and I was like, I don't want to have this reputation. You know what I mean? I can't do that. That's why I don't use the fiNESS tag when I played on Wi-Fi, because people would DM me and be like, "Fix your internet." Fine, dude. I'm gonna change my tag.
I messaged Kjez like maybe like social distance like 2 or 3 like pretty early, and I was like, hey, can I play in your tournament? Just because like I live in Ohio, but I feel like pretty connected to the Michigan scene, whatever.
You're close enough too. It's like,
and I was like, and I'm close enough.
It's not gonna make it.
And he said sure, and I was like, sweet. So I got to play, and as you can imagine, I didn't have the greatest Wi-Fi experience, but that's totally fine. I came back a couple times, but the thing that I really like, for me, someone with like mediocre connection, like it's much better to play against someone like that's 100 miles from you than 1,000 miles from you. Like, like just in terms of like connection quality. And that's why I still like whenever I play online, like it sucks. Like I can't play Wi-Fi brackets because like I have to play someone like in the Midwest area, or else my connection is just actually abhorred. Right. It's just like, and I'm sure I'm not the only person ever to have this idea that that like it was just nicer to play in an STD bracket as opposed to playing in like a coin box or something like that.
Like
just
because like at the time or something.
Just because the connection was just marginally better, and like I could maybe get some better games in. Not just for me. Like I just had that better experience. So
that makes me think, Kjez, did you have like an actual cutoff for how far someone could be, or was it just kind of case by case? Like, Gary's cool.
Most of the time it was just like I tried to keep it like, I don't think we ever let anyone from Wisconsin in, but it was like just Michigan and then Upper Ohio, and I think we maybe had like 1 or 2 Fort Wayne players. Nothing really further than that. Yeah.
So how did you like?
You're getting a UP?
Jay James. He's UP.
I've heard. Is he a Young Link?
Yes, he plays Young Link.
Yeah. And then
that's my only piece of UP knowledge. I'm glad that's a player.
Me too.
He's kind of a legend. He was so sick. Right. I wish he was in this area. But awesome. Shout outs Jay James. But yeah, like, but we mostly tried to keep it like local to Michigan.
Yeah. We should like invade a UP tournament. Like a bunch of of people from like the lower peninsula, like dude, 10 of us just go to a UP tournament.
Dude, like long story short, before like the influx of invitationals, I wanted to do a movement. I like really wanted to do a movement invitational. Like when I was a TO. I was like talking to Ivan about it. I was like, dude, we gotta get Jay James. Like I think it would be so cool to just have him at a movement. I just think like that concept, even if he went 0-9 in pools or whatever, I think like getting someone from UP like would be a really cool like bring the community together kind of experience, because we're like all Michigan, right?
Yeah. But we're like so disconnected from the UP.
I mean like physically, right? There's
my example that I always use is that I have 2 buddies that went to college. One went to Michigan Tech in the UP, and then one went to a college in Nashville, Tennessee. And the guy in Nashville is a shorter drive than the guy in the UP, right? So we're just like geographically so far from them. But do you think J James would go 0-9? Like, do you think he's nice like that, or?
So
I don't know.
Like, is he solid? I haven't seen him play.
When I was with Aura, we sponsored him to come down to the Arcadian 2021.
Nice.
And like he didn't. We sponsored him in that we gave him free entry and we gave him $50 for gas.
Okay.
And he didn't get a hotel or anything, so he drove down 7 hours that morning of the event and like played that day. So I think he only went 2-2.
Did he drive like 14 hours that day?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like a real grinder. But I'm a pretty.
That is nuts.
Yeah. Because all of the other players that did that well at SDD have all gone on to be PR players, right? So it's like Cork, Anthony, Copel, Dufault are the other people that were like farming SDD brackets. And like J James is the only one that hasn't. I mean, obviously he doesn't really have an opportunity.
Yeah, he doesn't have the
hit the Michigan PR. So like he didn't do that great at that Arcadian, but I think like if he was in this area and actually playing with people like at this level with consistent practice, I think he would be up there too.
I think he's about as good as Jad.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's about as good as Jad.
That's decently high praise, I feel. Jad's a solid player.
I think that's like.
And again, we're talking about his play in 2020. Like, you know, if he was here practicing for another 4 years, who knows what he would have been like.
That's so valuable, being able to have like a big group of people that are consistently good that you consistently practice with.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I think that's huge.
That is huge. So then I guess the other question that I had is how much did you like enjoy TOing on Wi-Fi? Was it like stressful? Was it annoying? Or
for the most part, it wasn't that bad. Like after the first couple weeks, there was a couple weeks we had one player from, I don't remember where, like Arizona, made like a fake account so he could like sign up and try and farm the event. Because I would put down me, Mastergrass, and Radia. Neither of them play in Michigan anymore. Okay. But we would all put down $20 every week so it was like a $60 prize pool every week.
Just out of pocket?
Yeah, out of pocket.
Which also made it really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And so like we got this random PR player that made a fake account that wasn't from Michigan so they could try and farm the event.
Yeah.
And like I remember having to like I had to like make the event private because they tried to do it like 3 weeks in a row. And how we ended up finding them is that they played Richter and nobody, it's such a rare character that nobody could verify their identity. Like, so we were like looking up Richter players and we eventually found like, oh, this is the guy. Like we figured out how to get back to his account. And it's just because he played a character that nobody plays.
Right. So there's no way to like region check people. You just have to like go hunting if they play a weird ass character. Or?
Eventually there was like this lag check tool. I don't even remember what it's called anymore. But that would like ping where you're connecting from.
Right.
So
eventually like the server that you're connecting to.
Yeah. Okay. Eventually somebody like made something that I could do that. But aside from those people like trying to sneak into the tournament to win $60, it was pretty fun.
It's
it was
$60.
like you know, I did most of the commentary for it, and so I was just.
I remember the Kjez commentary.
Yeah. It was sort of like just hanging out and like just reading Twitch chat and basically solo podcasting over
right.
during a Wi-Fi bracket on Saturday. So it was pretty chill. I had a lot of fun because like, you know, we're all locked inside. It gave me something to do every Saturday.
Yeah. Give you some people to talk to.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's kind of like, I enjoy the vibe of like just being at the mic at a tournament, just chill. Nothing really crazy is happening the whole time. There's enough people in Twitch chat to like stay entertained. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That type of commentary is very fun. I have a very good time.
Yeah. That's like the local. That's
the local.
The
peak local commentary experience.
Yeah, there's like one set every like hour. It's like, okay, let's focus on this. This is kind of a cool.
This
set,
is what I can. This is what I drove an hour to
exactly.
see.
Yeah. Trisket beats So Good Pop. It's like, whoa, Pac-Man versus Wii Fit. See, and that's the best out of local because games like Pac-Man versus Wii Fit are like really lame for 5 minutes and then really tense for like 30 seconds, right? So being able to talk to chat, do whatever for the entirety of the game, except for when it's exciting.
Actually it's a funny example. Yeah, because I agree. So
it's very fun, and there's a lot of games like that. You know what I mean? People talk about how like a timeout is hype for, you know, like a minute maybe, right?
Right.
But that 1 minute is super dope. So it's fun being able to commentate those sets out of local because you don't really have to focus on the 6.5 that leads up to it, and it's like super methodical, super slow. You get to focus on, oh, he just got hit by up smashing with 5 seconds left. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So exciting. I love that. That actually reminds me of something else. How much do people who play to time affect the TOing process? Like, is that like as much of an issue as I would assume it is, or no?
Obviously it depends on what part of the bracket you're in, but like,
right.
I definitely remember some sets where it's like, I'm literally like, we're in top 8, so there's no other sets that can be played besides what's on stream.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the clock and I'm like, man, every food place is going to close in the next 20 minutes.
You can't get food.
And these motherfuckers are just sitting on platform, like jumping up and down. I need this set to end. But yeah, usually it's manageable. I find actually that it's players that are like goofing around that delay brackets more. So
Like
I'm gonna call out a player, Rog. Bless his heart, very friendly guy.
He's
Diddy Kong.
Yeah. Diddy Kong player.
I played him at Big House.
I've played him on
hated
Wi-Fi.
myself.
Yeah.
Oh really?
I hated playing as him.
On Wi-Fi.
He loves talking. He's very friendly. He's chatting with his opponent in between every set.
Right.
I think it was
big yapper.
a big yapper for sure. I can't remember what tournament it was. Maybe like Summer of Love 2 or something. He played a best of 5 that went to game 4, and it took 38 minutes from when I called the match to when he came back to report to me. And I was like, bro, like, I know you're being friendly and stuff, but like, you sent me back 2 whole sets.
You gotta play your sets. Right.
Like, come on.
You usually have like a time restriction for like the venue, right?
Yeah, most of the venues I have are like have like hard outs. Like, well, it depends. So like, the Get Cooked venue, my brother is actually the person managing it, and like,
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, and like, I don't care if he has to work later. Like, he's gonna be pissed at me if he goes home at midnight instead of 10. But whatever. Like,
it's your brother.
I can handle that.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know if you guys remember, but the Arcadian 2022, we got kicked out during
really?
grand finals. Yeah.
I wasn't there for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, so we got it was a misunderstanding between Ori and the management people. We thought that they were just locking the doors at 11, but they wanted us out of the building at 11.
Okay.
So yeah, that one definitely went bad. EMU will never work with us again because of that. But
that was at EMU?
Yeah.
Dang.
So, but it was kind of funny to get around that. We were like, okay, it's grand finals. Like, we're going to wrap up. And they were like, no, we want you out of the building. Like, you don't understand.
Dang.
And so what we did.
What were they doing in there?
We were like, okay.
Some secret stuff.
Yeah.
They couldn't have you seeing it.
Because they have to like pay security and stuff to stay there until we leave.
Right.
Now they've got people that have to work overtime because of us and stuff. So I get it.
Okay. That makes sense.
But to get around it, we were like, okay, we got to wrap up our electronics. Like, we can't just leave everything here.
Yeah,
so we went and turned off the projector, and we told them it was Druish and Ryoku. We were like, just finish playing. Yeah, just play it out. Like, and so we were like, we went in the back and we were pretending like we were unplugging everything, and they just finished the set without the projector on.
Oh my god, that's so good. So sneaky, bro.
Yeah,
it would be Druish and Ryoku too. Like,
it would be Ryoku playing.
Yeah,
Ryoku won that, right?
Playing in that set.
Yeah, and it went to game 10. We were,
of course.
I was sweating while that was going on, talking about sets going over. Yeah, that was kind of stressful. But yeah, it depends. Some venues I can stay late, and other venues it's like a hard out. So I gotta. Yeah. You'll notice like when I'm running tournaments, a lot of times I'm like a machine. Like, making sure people are playing their matches and stuff. And that's actually something I've had to learn is, like, when I was an attendee, I was always very annoyed by pools, like, taking forever and stuff.
Sure.
Like, especially at majors, I used to go to Smash and Splash all the time, which is famously, like, was run awfully. It's like, after every year, there was, like, a big drama about how poorly it was ran.
Oh, great.
And, like, I always hated that the pools would start like an hour late. You would show up at 10. You don't play your first match until 11:30 and stuff like that. That's always really annoying to me. So like I'm very focused on like having very time controlled events. But one thing I've learned is that like And I totally understand this, is that lots of people are just there to play the game. Like, they don't care how long the event takes or whatever. They just want to hang out. So,
or if it's in bracket, they just want to, like, get games in, hang out with people.
Yeah. And so, like, trying not to be too overbearing where I'm, like, snapping at people like, hey, get off my setup. But still making sure the event is running smoothly. It's a balance, because I still want people to feel like they can have fun and it's not just business.
Yeah, it definitely is a balance.
Yeah.
It's like right. The moment at what is now 8:45, but what used to be 8:33, right? Where I call stop your friendlies. At movement, and it's like right. Do I like yank everyone off the setup? Most everyone is pretty good about it, but like that's just always a little bit of friction, and you're like. Right, they want to continue playing the game until time ends, but you have to get the bracket going for the sake of everyone else. So it's always kind of a hard moment, like right there. It's like stop your friendlies.
Yeah,
pull up people off their setup. So
what I also always notice is the balance between like knowing who you can snap at to kind of like get it out. You know what I mean? Because there's, I think of like you and Ushio, right? Those are the two TOs that I think of that like if it's like one of the people that they know pretty well, like very directly being like disobedient.
Oh yeah.
Neither of you have a problem being like, get off the setup. What did I just say? You know what I mean?
I'm sure you can tell, like, when I'm at my events, I love yelling, which is part of what makes me great at TO.
Yeah.
But especially if it's somebody I know that I'm friendly with or I know they can handle it, I'll be like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, turn off that set. And they're like, come and mess with them.
I think it was the second Get Cooked that I came to, which would have been 4. You had called to stop playing friendlies.
Yeah.
But me and Cal didn't hear that. So we saw a setup open up and we're like, oh, friendlies. And then
just for me.
Yeah, exactly. So we sit down and start playing, and the moment I grab the controller, you're like, fiNESS, are you playing fucking friendlies right now? And I was like, no, I'm not. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then Ushio does that an equal amount, right? Where if it's someone that he knows on the setup, he's like, I will kill you. Like he has no problem getting violent.
Yeah.
Actually, he doesn't do that.
Okay. Officially, he's never said he would kill anyone.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to find that balance, Gary? Or
what do you mean?
Like with like yanking people off? How was that? Like, how did you find that? I guess.
It was mostly just like, I would just like stand by people. I'd be like, dude, like get off the setup, get off the setup, get off the setup. I don't know. I'm not as I don't mind conflict, but I don't like to create it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I'm like this has to happen, and I'm like hey, let's make this happen. I also briefly wanted to mention like there's like very distinct modes that I feel like I'm in. So when I'm TOing, I feel like I'm in TO mode.
Oh,
and
100%.
if you ask me to like sit down and play like a Robbie or a Drewish or like someone around that's like PR level, I'd be like, dude, it's like so hard for like the moment that I'm in, right? The moment I'm in is I'm like trying to TO, and like it's hard to like put yourself out of TO mode, and so like when I'm in TO mode, I like feel pretty. I will feel better about like trying to get people off of setups, because like at the end of the day, like I'm the TO of the room, and they have to listen to me, or like something else can happen. Right, they can leave or something else. Right,
just DQ them.
Like, the most common,
that's always the biggest threat that you have is just you can't play in bracket.
The most interesting thing that like that I came across that I didn't like expect it, because it didn't really happen to me, but I would have people that like wouldn't sign up online or like wouldn't or like would pay. But they wanted to get out of bracket, and like those kind of situations where people want money back, or like those kind of situations, or like people don't know they're not in bracket. Like those are like the two situations that I like was not ready for, and you just kind of I don't know. It's like sorry, dude. Like I don't really know what else to do. Like we're already 30 minutes into this bracket that's already started. Like I can't undo the bracket just for you.
Yep.
And like
yeah, sometimes you got to make like the tough call. You got to have the hard conversation with someone. Like I've had that at majors where people were paying like $100 or whatever.
Rough.
And like,
that's rough.
Hey, you showed up 40 minutes late for your pool. The DQ timer's 15 minutes. I can't do anything for you, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm sure he gets that even harder.
Being late is especially problematic at majors because those have to run like well-oiled machines the whole time.
Yeah,
so
because
they can't really like catch up bracket for like 30 minutes just like to have one person, especially if it's not a top player. You know what I mean?
And
like,
also,
sorry, you didn't show up on time.
Unlike like a local where you probably even know who the person is and stuff. At a major, it's like I don't know how to get a hold of this guy. I don't know if he's even going to show up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Why would I delay my bracket?
Most locals, it's like, oh, this person that I know and have been speaking to for 2 years isn't showing up. Let me DM him, ask where he is. Like, oh, I'm in traffic. Oh, he's going to be here 5 minutes. Okay, cool. We'll wait for him, right?
Yeah.
But especially at a major, there's no previous connection. You just kind of have to be like, I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So then, how do you find that balance? I guess in this scenario and also in general between like catering to the needs of top players and low level players because their needs are so
and he wants to ask this question specifically in terms of like Michigan regionals. He's not asking about like Big House.
I mean like both.
Okay.
Like if you have insight on either, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
I think like I hate giving like extensions to anybody, but I also try to be friendly. Like I think you'll find if you are, I actually tweeted about this too. Like if you're nice to me, I'll do most things to like get you through like a bracket. Like if you're gonna come in late or something, Ryoku, who is not one of the players that I like, he was like 40 minutes late to the last Get Cooked and showed up with no money and was like, and I didn't DQ him. I probably should have. He set the whole tourney back like an hour.
Yeah, I remember. But Yoder to this day is upset about that because he wound up losing to Ryoku. So every time he thinks of Ryoku, he thinks of that one time he showed up 40 minutes late to Get Cooked and still beat me.
Yeah. But like I do, a lot of times you have to be like very strict about it. If you have a hard out, it's like, hey, 15 minutes. That's the agreement. You're out after that.
Yeah.
And I don't make an exception for anyone. That's if like I have a strict schedule, and like at majors it's like that too. The only time you can work around that at a major is when all of the sets are going to be on stream, so you can like be like, hey, this guy might be 30 minutes late, but since we're streaming them all, like it doesn't matter if he's in the building yet or not.
Yeah, just like put a set later.
Yeah. I'll never forget Anthony pulling up to
there's always a Tony story.
Anthony pulling up to the Big House 11, the last one. The last one as in the last one that just happened, not the last one.
The most recent.
Most recent.
The most recent one. Anthony pulling up to that, like the top 48 bracket or whatever, and he was like 20 minutes late, and I was like, you're fucking me right now. And if there was any other TO that was running this bracket that wasn't me, like the TO that loves you the most, then you would have been DQ'd out of this. And you need to remember that for your next tournament because he's gonna keep getting.
He did not remember.
Dude, he got because I was also late to the same tournament, but we went to the HFIL monthly, and we were both like 15, 20 minutes late. And we got DQ'd into losers.
Yeah, that was insane.
And then Anthony then won the tournament. But like, so I guess he didn't really learn his lesson. He just continued going.
He went on like the 11-0 losers run.
Yeah. But at other majors, that's not going to happen. Like if they're not going to make special things just because you're number one in Michigan.
Yeah. You know? Do majors usually just like full DQ? Do you ever get DQ'd just from winners and then play losers?
You never get single DQ'd. They're very specific about that.
Good.
Because
that makes no sense. I mean, like not to be like that, but that makes no sense.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It sucks. Because that's what I was gonna say. Is that gives like 2 to 5 people the experience of losing to like Rob and Tony for like 65th or something ridiculous like that, right?
Like obviously, there's certain things you can't control for, like you can't control for players getting upset, right? Obviously, like a player that drops into losers early, like whatever. But if you're putting the player there, then you're like purposely ruining people's brackets. And once you like throw that off,
there's no way people's brackets don't get ruined by that decision. At least one person is getting last place with the most abysmal bracket possible.
Yeah.
I try to always be pretty sympathetic to like the person's first tournament ever kind of thing. Like I always try to think about like if someone came to my movement tournament right now and this was their first bracket ever, like how would their experience be? Like,
yeah, would they want to come back?
Yeah. So like a good example is that for those kind of people, I prefer the 35 movement because we always have AM. And if they get out, right, there are two things that I do. So the first thing is that after winners, usually I make winners round 2 play. So I play winners round 1 and then I play winners round 2. So the person in losers like doesn't have to play both of their matches in like 15 minutes and lose right away. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I could have stayed home and spent 15 minutes doing anything else, right? So just like for the sake of like getting the feeling of being in bracket a little bit longer, I usually try to have like, especially if the bracket isn't a perfect 64, like I'll have the first round and then the second round play. Yeah. So just to give the people that are going to go 0-4 like a little bit more feeling of being in a bracket, and then the other thing that I totally forget. So,
okay. But you can definitely be a lot more flexible at locals. Again, this is another scenario where it's like the timing isn't as important. And you can be kinder to the players and stuff. So being
you also definitely know the players. Right? If you're at like a long, and when I say long stay, I mean more than like 6 months at TO at a local. You know pretty much every player, and that includes the people that show up every week and go 0-2, right? Yeah. So you understand just like from being around them what that experience is like, and you see it all the time. Yeah. And that's always like. Something that I think about a lot, because I very often will bring my friends who like Smash and like to play it but don't go to tournaments. I'll bring them and see what it's like. And it was really unfortunate because there were 3 movements in a row where I brought like 2 or 3 people, and every single time it wound up like in the last 10 minutes, it jumped from like 30 to 70 entrants. That wasn't that period of time where every movement was a regional, right? So every single time they went 0-2, one of them lost to like Broly Pascal for 0-2, and then didn't get AM bracket. And I was like, dude, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Like, and that just sucks to like spend like 3 hours of your Monday and 15 of your dollars on that kind of experience. So I always try to like. That's why I think the 35-man movements that have AM brackets are just more like friendly to newcomers than the 70 movements. Mm-hmm. The only difference is there's like a different feel. So some people like really like the feel of being at a big event. It's like oh my god, there are so many people here, like whatever. Like there's probably better players too. So it's like a different feel, and some people like that. But I always if I'm bringing someone to their first tournament, I try to make it to like somewhere between like a 20 and 40 man bracket that is also going to have AM. That's like that's like what I'm looking for.
That's pretty ideal. Just like to give an idea of like what it's like to like go to a tournament and hang out and have fun and like have friends. You know what I mean? I've noticed that I like Bear Cave better for like a first tournament because it's almost always like a peak 40 people, right? And they have like pool tables and there's like something else in that room.
Yeah, it's kind of like a student center area rather than like
and depending on where it is.
And also in the same vein, I like know everyone at Bear Cave, so I walk in and they're like, oh, there's like friends here, like. Because everyone has like the gamer stereotype where they're like, oh, I'm gonna walk into this like video game tournament, it's gonna smell bad, and everyone's gonna be weird, right? So I think in general, Bear Cave's a good place to like dispel that because it's a lot of people that are like cool to be around. You know what I mean? A lot of like fun.
Yeah, it's also at the student center of Oakland University, right? So you got a lot more normies just like walking around. So. You do.
No, it's true. Yeah, there's people walking by. There's people that aren't there for Smash, just playing pool like 20 feet away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to just chill. Which obviously, the TO doesn't really have much stake over what's around. But I think that's very important. That's why I loved. I can't believe I'm blanking on the name right now. It was at a bowling alley with Aura.
You're talking about.
Why can I not remember
with Aura? You mean Superhero?
Yes.
With Superhero.
Thank you. I know I said Aura.
Oasis is the name of the tournament. Yes.
Oasis.
I used to love going to Oasis because I would go 0-2 and then go bowling because it was in a bowling alley. I did that 3 times.
I was the guy that went bowling.
Yeah, I would go 0-2 and then be like, I don't got to deal with this. I'll go bowling. I'd shoot like 120 and I have a great day. You know what I mean? It was like Sick. That type of like nearby amenities is so important for a local and for a first tournament specifically. It's so fun.
Yeah, that's what people like at Movement too. People just like messing around like just on the obstacle course that is the Movement area. Yeah. So.
Which kind of got nerfed a while ago.
Yeah.
With do you know about that, Kjez?
No, I don't.
So there was one movement. This all happened in one day, where I don't remember the order of things that happened, but 2 things happened. One was you know those like curved ramps that like you like run up and grab the top and you like run up the angle?
Yeah.
Straw Hat Dad tried to do that, and he tore his Achilles, right?
Okay, yeah.
So
he was in a cast for a while.
Yeah, that's why he was in the cast. And then, like almost simultaneously, like not much. This all happened while I was watching a single set, right? There are a bunch of those like. You know those like silk ribbons that people do like aerial gymnastics on?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of those, and people like to like swing around on those, right? And there was one guy. His move was to go to like the top of one of the like parkour things and swing from that on the rope like Tarzan, right?
Yeah,
and it's like a 10-ish foot drop, and he would like swing down off of that. And he did that a lot, right? So it was like his move. It wasn't a risky thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
He did it all the time. But one time, as he came down, he sliced one of the things that connects the AC to the rest of the building, and the whole venue just did a chunk as the whole ceiling like gets like chopped off of the AC. It didn't fall, luckily,
Wow.
but it was immediately Jay was like, no, not that anymore. We cannot do that, right? He like realized how much of a liability having that is. At a tournament. Speaking of Jay, that's another thing I wanted to ask. How does one, I guess like TO specifically, like acquire like venues for events? Do you have to just know people, or can you look places? Is it always different?
I've got stories. I'm sure you do too. I don't.
So like I don't know. It's kind of a crapshoot. I send emails to people.
A crapshoot is a very good word.
Yeah, I send emails to just like random places. I look for like banquet halls, hotel meeting rooms, community centers and stuff, and I just send out an email and like. I'm like, hey, I run a Super Smash Brothers tournament. It's a video game, and I can bring 100 people here. Can you rent me this room for less than $1,000?
Yeah.
And lots of places just don't even respond. Some people are like, we've never had video games in this building. What are you talking about?
Yeah, like why would you even ask that?
What even is a video game?
Yeah. Get Cooked, like I mentioned before, my brother owns, or not, he doesn't own the venue. He works at the place, and so I'm able to get the venue there.
Yeah, you had that connection.
Yeah. And then like the Arcadian is just like, we partnered with colleges, the last two of them. We did it at a hotel meeting place where we just ended up, that one was expensive. I think we got like 230 attendees, and I don't think we made money on that tournament.
Really? Was it the Farmington Hills?
Yeah, the like one at the hotel. I wasn't there for that one.
It was 2021.
Yeah, 2021.
I lost to Defoe.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just kind of like luck of the draw. If you know somebody, you find a random place that's like usually like a business that doesn't have anything going on a Thursday night. That's like, sure, we'll rent you this room.
Yeah, you can have our conference room or whatever.
I don't know if you guys remember Afterglow. It was a short-lived tournament.
Yeah, I do know of it. I never went.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yeah, they had about 10, and they like maxed at like 18 entrants.
Yeah, okay, so the first two or three were in a hotel lobby, like in their meeting area, and the first one got like 60 entrants, and then the guy was like, we rented it, we were getting it for. Usually, Cal always tells me not to say how much money I pay for venues, but we were renting it for like $200.
Okay,
that was the agreement. And then he saw we got 60 people, and he was like, "Actually, next week that room $800." And I was like,
"What?"
For the same room.
Bad.
So like they like priced us out of the hotel immediately. Like this dude was like, I don't know, he was really shady too. I think he was like. Probably not even paying the hotel. Like he was probably pocketing the money or something. I don't know. It seemed weird because like we sent him an email like to the like hotel email, and then he like responded on his personal like thing. So I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's very unprofessional.
Yeah, you definitely run into that kind of thing.
Yeah, and so like that ended up like we got priced out of there, and then they moved to like a little game center, and then it just eventually, like Gary said, was only getting like 10 attendees.
Yeah,
and kind of petered out, but. Yeah, so I don't know. It's tough. Getting venues is definitely one of the toughest parts of being a TO for sure.
Yeah, I remember my impression of like what a regional would be before I ever went to one was that it would always be in like this like very important place. My image of what a regional would be, I guess, was kind of like what Rodeo 3 was, where there's like always a stage, there's always like a bunch of setups around it, but there's like a stage that people are looking at. Or what was that one tournament that happened at I want to say EMU, Phoenix Town. That's what I thought. Like that's what a regional is, right?
Yeah.
So then the first regional I came to, I think, was Spartan Sendoff.
Okay.
And I walked in, I'm like, oh, it's a conference room.
It's a conference room. A conference room that doesn't have air conditioning because half of MSU hasn't been updated to install air conditioning.
Right. So the windows are open. I got allergies. I'm coughing the whole time. Kjez thinks I have COVID. He's
I'm so afraid of fiNESS the whole time. He is coughing and sneezing the whole
on
event.
comms.
Yeah.
So bad. What were your stories there?
So like, I originated trying to create tournaments in Toledo. Right. I was trying to host like 15, 20-man locals in Toledo area because Toledo's always had ups and downs in terms of like TOs coming in and out and also like a reliable place to do that. So like I'm like 16.
Oh wow.
And there was like a coffee shop, like a local coffee shop that I liked. And so I basically and they had like barely enough room at the store, but it was close, and I knew people could go, and I was like,
you liked it there,
and I liked it there, and I was like, and I asked the owner, I was like, can I do this? And he was like, okay, and they didn't charge me venue, and I'm like,
wow,
I'm like sick,
great,
so I like charged people like $3 entry, $2 venue, like it was like because I'm 16. I don't know what money means. And so we run I run like a 12-man tournament. And everything goes more or less fine. And then I think the people the people that owned the coffee store wanted more out of the people than what they gave. So in terms of in terms of like venue, they wanted like more sales. Like they wanted people to be like buying $15 on coffee and bakery goods, right? And that's just not what they got. And so there was like that kind of misalignment of what the goals were like something that like you run into. Like I also tried like more recently in Smash Ultimate, I tried to host like at a banquet center. I tried to get a local going, and I walked in and like talked to the lady that works there, and she just didn't really get it, like what was going on, and like.
What did she?
She like seemed like she wanted more money out of me, and I'm like, dude, we don't have $300 a week to do this kind of thing. Like it's just not what's gonna happen. And so that fell through too.
When you guys say that somebody like doesn't get it or doesn't know what's happening, what do you think they are assuming is going on? What seems to be happening in the mind of someone who has no idea what a Smash Bro is?
In my experience, they're hearing like a tech thing, and they're worried like, oh, like we don't have equipment for that to like host that kind of thing. Because usually like a banquet hall is like hosting like a birthday or like a bar mitzvah.
Yeah,
or
they need
a
like
wedding.
Streamers.
Yeah.
Right.
And so like they're just putting up curtains and
we need Twitch
tablecloths and stuff. But like I always try and explain to them like, no, we're gonna bring in all our own equipment. It's fine. Like you don't. I can even bring in electrical stuff. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I think that they get stressed out about the idea of people like having the attendees bringing stuff in and keeping track of it and liability for that stuff.
Yeah.
Even though, like, in my head, it's not a big deal. Like, the person that's bringing stuff in
your homies are going to bring their Switches and they're going to bring them home.
It's normal to us, but to them, it's like a whole weird alien thing.
Right.
Yeah. He's got like that on a much, like, bigger scale, but I guess not as frequent. Like, I've seen a lot of Toledo venues. I've seen, like, bowling alley, like, college, like coffee shops. I've seen like a boba tea shop.
Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of different.
That's awesome. I love a venue.
I've seen a lot of different venues at Toledo, and like I mean, they just come and go.
Yeah, Toledo events also cap out at like 20-ish.
Yeah. It depends. Yeah.
You have a bit of flexibility.
What's like a summer like peak activity Toledo local? You know what I mean?
It depends. I mean, the game's gone through eras, and now is the worst time by far for Toledo. It's like, I mean, I don't want to like beat a dead horse, but it's not. I mean, it's just not that strong. Mm-hmm. I mean, like the free local like at the library is getting like 15 people or something.
Okay.
And the like Bowling Green State University, they get 20 people, but a lot of them are O2ers from campus.
Sure.
So, I mean, but I always want to compare it to right before COVID, and we were getting like 35 entrants a tournament, and like the level of play was really good, and that was like that Smash Ultimate scene, and like we were at a comic book store of a friend of a TO, and so like it was like everything was just kind of working out, and that was like a good moment.
Yeah, so. I don't want to talk about it too much, but I definitely think like that era right before COVID is like the golden era of Smash Ultimate.
Yeah,
obviously everybody has rose-colored sunglasses for it now. But like
that's when I started coming to tournaments like frequently. I'm like, oh, I'm really gonna get into Smash, and it was like February 20th.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna come every week, and I did that for a month, and then it got cut off.
Like,
nah, dude, Kazuya,
Smashfield.
You know what I'm saying?
Smashfield Weekly was like putting up numbers that are bigger than our regionals now. Then they were doing it weekly.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It was crazy,
and it was like Smashfield would get like 11 of the 15 PR every week.
Yeah,
and it was a crazy time. But yeah, it's like a whole different thing now.
Yeah.
So
there's also a difference between the rose-colored glasses thing and there were 100 people and the entire PR at this local every week.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it
that's
definitely
just statistically.
was. It definitely was.
Very significant difference.
Yeah, and in the early stages of a game, like more people are more willing to come out. Yeah, it's just fresh. More people are willing to try the game, and people move on for whatever reason, right? And so the scene just changes.
Yeah.
And so
then once you get to this point in the game, the thing that keeps people around is like they want to compete or they have friends, right?
Yep.
And those that come around just to compete are very reasonably disillusioned with the game. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So really, it's just the people that like have friends or are very insistent on like being competitive or successful at being competitive.
Yeah.
In this game.
I will always say that we're taking a children's party game way too seriously, right? So it's it's just hard sometimes.
That's what I always think. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, I got a topic if you're.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Bring it up.
So one thing I wanted to talk about with you guys, I wanted to ask you. I have a lot of.
He's got questions for us. Dude.
Not to like hype myself up too much, but I have had a lot of influence in the rule set for Smash in a lot of the area.
Yeah.
So
this is a good topic.
So I and a couple other TOs. Booker was the other main person that helped me work with this, and then Ray and I kind of worked out the original rule set that we started using in Michigan that has become known as the Midwest Unified Rule Set.
Yeah.
And
Solid
I've gotten
rule
it.
set.
I tried to get it at Genesis this year. I talked with the Genesis Ultimate TOs, but they didn't do it. But like I got it at Smash and Splash, Shine, the Big House, and like most regionals and stuff that you go to in the Midwest are running the rule set now. So my first thing is, do you guys think the rule set is good, or like is there things that you think suck about it? And then I've got another topic after.
Are you talking specifically about stageless time?
Yeah,
time.
We can get into it deeper if you want, but I just want to know your general thoughts. If you think that it's cool that we have a unified one, if you think the one that we went with is good, I'm up for any kind of discussion.
Before anything else, I want to say one rule that is a lifesaver at a local level is the one about how like any additional equipment must be agreed upon, right? Like if someone wants to use like headphones,
I just
have to agree.
That. Yeah.
Yes, that one recently has been massive. I love that rule so much because there's been a few times where someone's like, "Hey, can I plug my headphones in?" I'm like, "No, like I want to hear the game."
I agree.
To explain that rule a little bit, it's like if you're bringing something in and it's like personal headphones or a specific controller with a connection that requires a USB. Whatever you're plugging in can't take away access of what's already available to the other player.
Yes.
So like in fiNESS's case, you can't plug in headphones if it's going to take away available audio to both players.
Right.
And I just got that put into the rule set this last season.
And there are 3 USB ports on a Nintendo Switch dock, and one of them for like the movement setup is reserved for the speaker. Right?
Yeah, always.
So like you have to, and then one also has to be reserved for the GameCube controller, or 2, right?
Yeah.
Some people play with Rumble, and you can't like. Right? They get to play with Rumble.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is, you can also like gentlemen's agree to whatever. Like if you don't care about sound and they want to plug in headphones, they can still do it.
Which I've also had before.
But
it's a Fox player. I don't really need to hear it. I'm going to listen to music. He can use headphones.
Yeah. But the rule was specifically in case an argument happens this is what a lot of the rules are, is kind of like, you can gentlemen's to do your thing, but if, one person disputes something, this is how the TO should make the call.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
kind of
Which
way.
that I very much like, just having like contingencies. And you
Yeah.
asked if I like the idea of a like generalized rule set. I do very much like that, because what I like about a standard rule set like that, it's kind of like if you want your tournament to be taken seriously, use these rules. If you want to have fun, use different rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the distinction between those two, right? Because you look at a tournament like an HFIL uses a different stage list, and it's not like I'm gonna go to HFIL to like really try and get great practice. That's like, oh, I want to play WarioWare and see what happens. You know what I mean? Like I went to HFIL, last hit game 3, Palutena down tilt fair killed me at 60 on WarioWare, and I'm like, you know what? That was fun. I had a good time doing that, just because it's like goofy, right? Because you don't go into HFIL with the same mindset because the standardized rule set exists. Right? There's no thing of like, oh, this tournament is equally as important. There's 60 people here. There's PR players. This matters, right? Because they use 10 stages, DSR, 3 bands. It's like, oh, like I don't have to focus that much, and that's why I like the unified rule set.
Yeah.
It's because it allows for tournaments that don't have to be that serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. I think especially rules like the headphones one is like a good example of something that should be in a rule set, and it's like bad that like if in any case that someone doesn't have it in their rule set, and obviously you have to make the mistake first before you end up putting it in, right?
Right.
But like,
sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, go ahead.
Really quick, just it came up because I think Mr. Monday has like a specific adapter he wanted to plug in, and we were discussing whether or not he'd be allowed to plug that in if the other person didn't want to use that adapter.
Yeah.
And so then I was thinking about
an adapter that like takes away a frame of input delay or
yeah,
something
it's
like
like
that?
lossless or something.
Yeah,
I don't know anything about the adapter itself. But yeah, so we ended up having a discussion about that. And I was like, this should just be in the rules. Like, we shouldn't have to have like a discussion. We should just know what the call
what
would
to
be
do.
here. So yeah, that's how it ended up getting added. To
Wait, so then you mentioned Mr. Monday. That reminds me, Mr. Monday also brings a
small
fan with a USB attachment to point at his hand.
He's gonna fry the
So
the
under
switch or
that
something.
rule set, could somebody be like, "Don't use that"? Like you're not allowed to use that because
if it's preventing the other person from, if you have to unplug the speaker or the rumble for it.
Well, no,
But if it doesn't affect him
USB,
anyway.
he's using his own power source, right? He's not using.
Oh, I don't remember.
He's
I
not
thought
using
he plugged
the
in
switch.
Okay, never mind.
yeah,
Never
if
mind.
he's not plugging into the switch, then there's nothing against it.
I was totally about to be like, next time I play, and be like, no, you can't use the fan.
No,
Turn it off.
that would mean that
Have
I
sweaty
could-
hands, asshole.
That would extend to like, then you could tell people they couldn't use their AirPods or something.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts on the rules other than
I was
gonna
say that like I don't know. I'm on some like I think there are more stages that are suitable than like the eight that we have.
What are your additional stages that you like?
And I also strongly think that the inclusion of Hollow Bastion and Smashville is just like is considerably more different than the difference between like PS2 and Small Battlefield. PS2 is an extremely big stage. It's like very, very wide.
Yeah.
And the platforms relative to the size of the stage is not very big. Unlike Small Battlefield, where the platforms are really big compared to like the
covers
base.
like a third, I think.
Each one covers about 2/5. There is like one, maybe I'm overstating it, but it's like a huge percentage of the stage is covered with platforms, and so that just like changes the gameplay, right? Like on like a deeper level, I think there's obviously counterplay to both kinds of ways of like Small Battlefield and PS2, and so I don't mind there being both Small Battlefield and PS2, but I personally think that like specifically Hollow Bastion is like just another Smashville, and every time I ban Smashville, I also want to ban Hollow Bastion, and I've never had that experience where I didn't want to ban both or I wanted to leave both open.
Yeah.
My
if that makes
example
sense.
that I've seen someone ban one but not the other is just Blast Zone related. Because the Smashville Blast Zone is so close, right? So I've seen that
it's a
be a
little
factor.
bit closer. It's like three whatever units closer.
Yeah, 3 units. Sure.
But like I also think that you could do 7. Like this is again just like me personally.
7 stages?
I'm just like throwing words out. I think 7 would be fine.
Okay.
I think 5 starters. We have the original 5 from the origination of the Smash Ultimate. and then we have Kalos and a small battlefield as the two counters. But like again, this is like small potatoes. I think that like
and
it's not a big deal.
I'm kind of in a similar boat. Like I do think that some of the other stages could potentially be legal and stuff, and like I think it's kind of lame that we don't try them out. I think that
that's also true.
My mindset is always like, when I think of like Melee and the way that Melee settled on their rule set, they had a decade of like
toughing it out on the PS1 transformation,
on pokey floats, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's also true.
So,
right.
so I always think about stuff like that, and I think like Smash Ultimate didn't really ever get the experiment phase where we try these stages to see what happens and see if we like them, see if they're viable, right? So I think a stage like WarioWare, we can theorize all we want about how like, psyched up hero is going to kill it like 15 with back air, right? We can talk about that all we want, but until we actually like try it and see what happens, we can't really know. And I do think we're past the point in the meta where we can just throw stages in there and try it out. Yeah. But I am very much always of the mentality that I want to see people trying new rule sets as long as they're going to be willing to be like, that one didn't work, we're not going to keep this, right? So as long as you're flexible, I think trying out new rule sets and stuff is not only like fun, but like necessary for the development of the game's meta.
I think a good example of that is the Gimvitational, which was like right after COVID. And basically everyone just wanted to play on PS2.
Yeah, they just PS2.
So that was like,
I do think, but I think there's enough stages that could potentially be legal that you could do something, and this would require the unification all over the place for this, of you could have like CSGO does like map rotations where only certain maps are legal during certain seasons.
I see where you're going with this.
And so I think you could do the same thing with Ultimate, where you could make it like 5 stages, full DSR, and then you could swap what those 5 stages are each season.
Yeah, for like
maybe
3
every
months or whatever.
Well, you would do it like every 6 months for each rank season.
Right.
And then you would switch up the next one, and eventually we could wear down like, okay, this stage was legal, everybody hated it, or like it had these weird interactions, so we're never going to put that in the rotation again or something.
And see, that's the thing that I always think of, is that we don't have the experience of, Spring Stadium was legal for a year and everyone hated it and nobody wanted it to be legal.
Yeah.
So like that's what I always think. Stage talk has been and will continue to be theoretical. It's never about this happened and this is what people thought. It's I think this would happen, I think this would happen. Yeah. And that type of conversation, and this is like a general life philosophy that I think about all the time, just bothers me. When it's like, why don't we just see what happens? Like just try.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So to build off of that, like I have my opinion on how the stages should work and stuff. But one thing I've found, like working with other TOs, and like I think this is kind of a thing why we have all these fractured rule sets in general, is that lots of TOs are kind of like egotistical, I think, about I picked this rule set, I think that this is the one, and I'm gonna run it. And
I was like that about Yoshi's Story, right? I wanted Yoshi's Story. I mean, partially because I played fucking Mario, right?
Yeah. See?
But I also just like thought it was good diversity, and and that's why Movement held on to Yoshi's Story for fucking forever, just because I thought it was a good stage.
But yeah, I think it's like I've come, and maybe this is just because like I'm an older guy and like I have a little bit more maturity or whatever, but like I'm very willing to be like, you know what, I suck ass at this game anyway, so why does my opinion matter that much? My job is to run the tournament people want to attend. And so it like if people want a event where the rule set, they can go anywhere in the state and it's the same rule set, that's better than stroking my ego and keeping whatever stage I think should be legal. So I wish more TOs had that philosophy, and not saying like I don't care if we end up with the Midwest rule set or something different, but like I wish people were willing to put away their ego to be like, this will benefit the game. If everybody is on the same rule set, because there's not other competitive games that I can think of that are like that. That like this state just doesn't do this thing.
Yeah, I mean, not to be like that, but that's mostly because most esports have one big
conglomerate running
that runs everything.
Definitely.
Right, for
or they have the company that made
for
the
Overwatch,
game.
it's Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
The company that made Overwatch runs the biggest Overwatch tournament, and so everyone's gonna play by their rules.
Yeah, so it's definitely easier to control from the top like that. I get that. But yeah, that's just. I just wish that TOs were a little more willing to put that shit aside.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've definitely just noticed the advantages of having the unified rule set. Like what you just said kind of goes back to it, right? Where like you have the overarching thing and then
I really like the unified rule set. I think the idea of it
I do
is
like the stage list, by the way. I don't think I ever said that.
Yeah, I do too.
It's a good stage list.
I would yeah. I was gonna say this is like totally aside, but like first tournament kind of goers and because I work with high schoolers.
Yeah.
Constantly we get into arguments about not like me and my kids because I tell them that stages don't matter, but they will get into arguments with other kids from other schools about where to go for stages. And I'm like, dude, just go to PS2. You guys don't actually know what makes Hollow Bastion that much better for Pac-Man than PS2, right? You guys don't understand that, or even how your game plan changes. So just go to PS2 or something.
That's kind of my logic. I hate having to think about a ban. You know, I'm just like, can we just PS2? And it's no, bans game one.
The rule set that we use for it has 10 stages and 3 bans, and it's a nightmare trying to.
That's why I didn't like the HFIL rule set.
And we're
the amount.
And we're messaging each other on Discord, and I'm like, dude, we don't have to argue about every stage, every match. Just I don't know. Let's just go to small battlefield.
Yeah.
I don't even care. Let's go to FD every game. But
I will say, the thing I said earlier about TOs taking criticism. I wanted to say this because I almost rage tweeted after HFIL, but I didn't because I liked it down till forward. Yeah, because I liked that they were experimenting, right? So I almost tweeted I hate this rule set, right? But I guess to say that constructively while we're on the topic, I think I love the idea. I honestly don't even have a problem with any of the individual stages, but it's 10 stages, 3 bans, DSR, best of 3. I think if you
that's so confusing. That's
I think DSR is fine. Even 10 stages is fine. But having it be best of 3, the DSR doesn't really matter in a best of 3 because there's too many stages, right? So I think either less stages, longer sets, or an extra ban is necessary for a 10-stage rule set.
That even though I think DSR is really cool when you have a smaller, I love Melee's rule set.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah, because it's got full DSR. So, if you win on FD, you cannot go back.
Ever. But DSR,
I think DSR is rad. I don't get the S in DSR. I think it's a cool rule. I think it's Dave's good rule.
But DSR definitely makes it more confusing for first-time attendees or lower experienced people. So that was one of the things. I didn't I'm not against it, but I was definitely one of the people that pushed against having DSR for the Midwest unified.
Yeah,
good call. Genuinely, that was definitely a good call.
Yeah, just to make it easier and more approachable for people.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Did you have another topic you wanted to bring up?
Hit us.
Yeah. Well, I put in my notes to make sure that I shout out Ray and Grayson. One of the things that one of the things being one of the bigger TOs in the state, bigger, whatever, No, you're
good. You're good, bro. Gas yourself.
It's we do a lot of the sort of middle management stuff that nobody really thinks about for running a scene, but needs to be done. Whenever we're doing PR stuff, Grayson has been charging the ship on the PR stuff.
I got that vibe that Grayson cares about PR right now.
He does a lot of the PR stuff that's
because half of it are his students.
Right. For I don't want to. Yeah, but continue.
But I love Grayson.
I think the most recent one actually came out at a pretty reasonable time. I'm sure you guys remember. They were falling way behind weeks and weeks and stuff. So he's been trying to right the ship on that and make a more structured system for PR and stuff. So big shout outs to Grayson for that. And then Ray is the other person that helps a lot with doing Ray and I have led the front on managing player bans and that kind of stuff, which is a really touchy shitty topic
that
nobody
hard.
wants to deal with that, but like somebody has to. And like, so Ray and I have
When
both
was the last time that was a problem?
Actually, we haven't had to deal with too many player bans recently.
I was going to say, I don't recall
a lot of them
any
have been
in my
like,
time.
yeah, I don't think there's anyone currently banned right now.
Cool.
But like, just like when it has come up, you know, somebody's got to be the one like, we got to have a conversation with this.
Like,
we got to make
right.
a decision on this.
Yeah.
We got to write this statement about whatever thing. And Ray does a lot of that too. So that's something that doesn't come up very often. I just wanted to shout them out for being like dealing with some of the more BS stuff that we have to deal with to make the scene what it is. So shout outs to them.
Good. Shout out Ray.
Yeah.
We love Ray.
Kyle, Ray, and Grayson.
I was going to say something else,
Grayson
but
Lumbers.
I forgot. Unfortunately,
Shout outs.
We have. I think me and Gary have at least one moment per episode where we're so confident going into a topic, and then just all steam runs out. We're like, I forgot what we were gonna say. There's no way.
Yeah. How much more time do we have?
We're like an hour and 5 in. So like, if you have another topic, bring it up.
we're
but
trying to wrap it up.
We're like close to wrap up.
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Okay,
But we could talk. We could say something else.
Okay. So, right now I'll shout Get Cooked. You should sign up for Get Cooked. It's happening,
plug your events if you have them coming up.
March 16th, Get Cooked, Lansing, Michigan. It goes towards Allen Neighborhood Center, which is this cool place that teaches people a lot of stuff about food and health safety.
It's awesome.
And they provide housing and like food to people that are in the area. So they're a really cool like charity. Part of your entry fee goes to fund that. So you should sign up for Get Cooked. March 16th, smash.gg/Get Cooked.
Thank you. Plug
Is that a nonprofit?
Yeah. I don't take any money home from that one.
Right.
So anything that you like, I still pay Gucci, and like sometimes if we get enough attendees, I'll like
Shout
pay
out
the
Gucci.
yeah.
Shout out Gucci.
Gucci does all the streaming for like basically all my events.
I think he doesn't live in Michigan anymore.
Yeah, right now he is in Indiana with his girlfriend. She got a job out there, but he's still driving
good
up
for them, good for them.
Yeah, he's still driving up for Get Cooked.
Wow, what a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
awesome.
He's clutch. And I don't take home any money from that. But I like still pay the people that work the event, and then whatever we bring in from the total venue fees goes to the charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's awesome. I love Get Cooked. I have so much fun at that. I can't go to this next one, but Get Cooked is great. I have such a great time.
Thank you. I get a lot of good feedback about it. I was kind of worried at first, like, because it's in like this. It's in like a weird part of the neighborhood, and it's just like in this kind of older building that's attached to the business wing that they do.
Yeah.
But people really like it, and one thing that I always like, I'm always very cognizant of when I'm at events is like the food and drink availability.
I was just about to say any event with food attached, it's automatic bonus points. There could be so much wrong with the event, but dude, they got food.
Yeah,
I can get chicken tenders. Are you kidding?
And one of the things Get Cooked, we always have. They're called makers for Allen Neighborhood Center, which are like startup businesses that are working within the neighborhood center.
Really good food.
And so if you buy food at the event, it's from their makers, people that are starting up businesses in the local area.
It's always so good.
Yeah, and they've all been pretty good so far. Even just getting food there supports the event. If you're just there to hang out and you want to get some chicken tenders, the places we've had like Korean chicken there.
There was like street tacos last year.
There was
last tournament.
There's one guy that does Peruvian food that had like the food truck, if you remember that.
I do. That was awesome.
That guy has got his own brick and mortar place because of all the money that, not just from Get Cooked, but in part he was able to afford that. He bought that his food truck almost right after Get Cooked because he was so successful.
That's all you. That's all you, Kjez.
Yeah, it was all me.
Take credit for that.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. But Get Cooked. It's cool. You should come.
Attend. Do you have any other event shout-outs, topics, questions before we wrap up?
Unfortunately, there's a couple events that haven't gotten announced yet that I was going to shout out when I got here, but the people are slacking to get them public. I did want to say...
The people.
Oh, well.
the people that aren't me. These aren't my events. They're events that I'm working that haven't been announced yet.
Sure.
I will say I was working with a group. This is just a fun little aside. I was working with a group that's trying to run an event that wanted to have Steve banned, and the company responded back when we applied for the license and said, you can't do that.
Really?
Which is weird because I think Hungrybox's like online tournament has Steve banned.
So
and
it was
is
just
licensed.
Matchbox.
Wait, like the company knows about Smash Bros. To the extent that they know.
They looked at the rule set that we sent them and said, you can't ban Steve.
Really? Like specifically, you can't ban Steve. Well,
they didn't say it's like got legal wording and it says your rule set like excludes a character that's
but it was
game.
like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Huh.
Yeah, I know.
Cool though. Like that's kind of dope. But
and that's part of the reason.
Is someone a Steve fan?
yeah. Listen,
like Onan's the CEO of this company. He's like, no, Loki, you don't wear that kid.
He's just a huge Onan. No, he's a huge Onan fan.
When I said a company, I mean like the company that makes Smash. That's what I'm saying. We applied for the license.
Smaller company
for the Nintendo license to run the tournament.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Good idea saying the company though. That's probably a good shout.
Yeah.
That was a funny bit for a second. I'm sad now.
No. It wasn't like the venue was telling us like, no, you gotta keep
it. That would be.
I thought it was even funnier.
I thought some
that
Joe
would be
Schmo
even
at
funnier.
the venue was like.
I thought it was like Hilton Hotel was like, no, you can't.
Yeah, that's what I thought was going on. Anyway.
Yeah.
So good.
Anywho.
Okay, so my final words at the end here.
Yeah,
one thing I want to leave out with, and fiNESS actually brought this up early on in our conversation.
Oh, did I?
One thing that, as an old guy, I've learned that I think to pass on my knowledge to all you youngins out there.
Okay.
I think one of the most important things you can do with your life is figure out something you can do with your own hands. Like something you can make, something you can create and put out there that isn't just consuming or experiencing things. So like with fiNESS, it's like putting out videos and content and stuff.
Or this, literally.
Yeah, what we're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, I learned how to cook during the pandemic and it has like changed my life. Like I have so much more control of like what I do. But that's just like cooking is one thing. But
Kjez has cooking lessons coming soon.
If you fiNESS said like, the content he wanted to see wasn't there. And he just decided that he could be the content that he wanted to see.
There's no reason not to.
And that's like one of my favorite bands ever, Against Me. One of their songs, New Wave. They say, we could be the bands we want to hear. We can define our generation. And you can only do that if you know how to make something yourself. If not, you're being led along to do whatever is available to you.
But how do I learn to make stuff myself? Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it and figure it out.
Yeah, back to what you were saying.
Just
you just gotta do it.
Yeah, you just gotta go out
do
and do
it. Because I had never tried making anything, and I was like, I want to, and I did.
Yeah.
You can like find resources. You don't have to take a class. You don't have to like learn shit. You can do shit, and then you will learn in the process.
Yeah.
It's so easy to pick something up.
The first Back to Smash right after quarantine ended. That tournament lasted until 3 a.m. That was the first tournament I ran on my own.
At the hockey rink,
That tournament went on forever. The like pools lasted forever. People had fun with it.
Right. Then what happened at the second Back to Smash?
It wasn't like I did good at that tournament. But then, we ran Back to Smash last year, and we had a hard cutoff at 10 p.m. We had 200-something attendees. One of the biggest individual tournaments that I've ran before, and we finished at 9:45.
Was that the 2 day? Was it 2 day or am I missing?
No, the 2 day one got postponed.
Oh yeah, thank you. Okay, yeah. I did go to that tournament. That's where Yoder beat Suspect Sonic. Am I remembering?
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
There was a lot of other things that happened.
Yoder beat Jaja.
Yeah, you made. Okay, this is the same one that you.
Yeah, he made the video.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is like,
I love that tournament.
It's not like you're gonna be perfect the first time, but you can get good at something. And so you should just go out there and start doing something yourself.
Another thing that I've found is that it doesn't even have to be good to be appreciated. The first few videos that I made were like trash, but I would go to Movement and they'd be like, "Yo, that was an awesome video. Thanks for making that."
People just like having something.
Yeah. Especially if you're doing something that people don't do a lot, people are gonna appreciate it at the very least and support you and say, "Hey, if you want help." When I did my when I did the Back to Smash video, I got like 3 DMs saying like, "Hey, if you ever need help like moving forward, making content or doing something, I would love to help you," because there are a lot of people that want content to exist. They have some means, some set of skills that can be used to push yours forward. So if you start anything, a team will arise, basically, like almost no matter what. If you are in a community and trying to do anything. And I'm glad you said that, because that is something that I say to people very often, and I don't get on soapboxes very often, but that was a good chance for me to preach a little bit. But I do think with that, we are going to wrap up.
Yeah, sounds like a wrap up. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, this was really fun.
Thanks for coming here instead of
we're live. So.
That was great.
This was the most friendly conversation I've ever had with attendees talking to a TO. I was expecting you guys to be like, so what the hell?
What's your problem, though? Hey, I had my fair share of that one good cook story. So yeah, thank you again for tuning into episode 8 of the Big 3 podcast with Kjez. It was a great time. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.
Bye.